Okay, ladies and gentlemen, people, welcome to the Workshopium. My name is Gerald. Today we are going to be beginning a new series. This series is going to be one of the first ever of its type on YouTube, where we are going to be writing a novel from basically nothing to completion, okay? And every step of the way I'm going to be with you right here, typing and talking about what's going on during the novel creation process. The genre is going to be science fiction for this novel, and the title is going to be called The Silverrunner. Now, I tried my best, okay? I tried my best to find other YouTubers who actually filmed themselves writing. Oh my god, dude. I couldn't find a single one. Not a single one. Can you believe that? There's people who are sitting at a computer typing. Okay. There are people who have the camera super focused on their face, just like I have right now. But not a single one of them are inside the Word document talking about what they're doing, brainstorming, and kind of creating the actual work. It's really mind-blowing. I hope that didn't mess with the audio too much there. I just moved the little microphone. And I didn't even know I had a microphone. I completely forgot. I bought one for a podcast years ago, and I dug it out, and here we go. So, yeah, today we are going to be going into the design docs. I'm going to walk you through it. And I'm going to brainstorm right here on camera, and we're going to kind of explore. And when I'm done, I will be able to you should be able to begin to see, like, how are we going to approach the writing process for this project, okay? All right, I'll see you on the flip side. 1. Hello, welcome back from the jump. This is Gerald here. So I have made us up a little template. These are what I call design documents, okay? And design documents are basically going to be these, how could I express it? We're going to fall back on this as we're writing the novel. So everything we set up inside here is going to be the most crucial thing to kind of support the novel. Now, there's reason we use design documents instead of outlines. Outlines has a psychological reward where when you have wrote the outline, your brain believes that you've actually written a book. We do not want that because we want to be productive. I'm going to teach you something here. I have a personal bit of philosophy. We are not artists here, okay? Each of us here watching this video who wants to be an author, who is an author, and I wholly encourage you to write a novel along with me as we go through this project, okay? This project is probably going to be running for a few months because I have to write actual chapters into this book. So, here's what I want you to do when you open up the design document, okay? Hey, you can make your design document look any way you like. I set this up last night. As you can tell, I'm going to update that to the current date. I want you to type the title of the book in question, okay? The title of today's book is The Silverrunner. Okay? Very important. The Silverrunner design document. It really kind of encompasses everything we're doing here, okay? Now, I'm going to kind of walk you guys through this, and we're going to brainstorm and figure out how is this book going to work, okay? So first, before anything else, what genre do you expect this story to take place in? Well, that's obvious. This story is going to be a... Control I, sorry. It's going to be a science fiction. And for these, you might need to resize it. I made this template in a hurry. I will provide this template at the very end with a download link, just in case you don't want to really make your own. You may need to change the fonts around. I'm very partial to Libre Baskerville. It's one of my favorite fonts, but that's just me, okay? So, I'm going to delete this here. Yes, we need to decide on the genre every single time we are writing a story. Now, this is going to be science fiction, but it's actually going to be low science, high concept. Now, what do I mean when I say low science, high concept fiction, okay? It means that we're not dealing with spaceships. We're not dealing with time travel per se, although that could work into the plot. There isn't going to be advanced robots or sci-fi gizmos. In fact, I am going to add a little line right here that says this is going to be a modern setting. You're going to see how strange these look over time as we work on the design document, okay? The reason for it is that the design document is just giving us the idea of what's happening. So, the genre is going to be low science, high concept fiction, okay? Hey, the reason it's high concept is I have an image, which I'm going to get into when I start talking about the core concept down here. But first, we need to write the project overview. Project overview is basically, what do you want this project to be? And for us, it is going to be making a video series that documents the book from nothing. You know, I just thought of a great idea. I could name this entire series is Writing into the Future, or Writing in the Future, or Writing the Future. Writing the Future. I like that a lot. And we can kind of just coach the entire Silverrunner design project in that. I like that idea a lot. So, first, what am I doing here? I am making a video series that documents writing in the book from nothing. Now, why am I doing that? I have a hard time forcing myself to actually sit down and continue working on something, okay? I make hundreds of prototypes. I will always make all these little finicky things back and forth, but I never truly get around to finishing it. This time, I want to try to force myself to finish it, and I want to kind of explore a new creative medium. So, for example, well, I want this fiction, want this novel to be influenced by you, the viewers. And the reason for that is that I'm going to run polls as I go through here. Every time I hit writer's block, I'm going to use a combination of using a D20, where I'm going to simulate a dice roll. I will explain this when we get to that type of resolution. Normally, high numbers are good, low numbers are bad, and that's kind of like one of the tools I use to get past writer's block. Another thing I like to do is I come up with 4 or 5 scenarios. And normally I would roll the dice and just go off what the dice is saying. But I want to run polls as I am working on this project, depending on interest, of course. I don't expect many people to bother watching this from the get-go. And I want to get you guys involved in the creation of this story. Does it make sense? It's still a novel, but it has more interaction that way, I guess. And if you want to do that, you will have to reach out to me at my X. You can find the link in the description, okay? I also have a link to my X account on the homepage. Maybe I can set up polls directly on YouTube. I'll have to look into that. I'm working on trying to make this YouTube channel as good as I can. So yeah, project overview. How long do we want it? We should put that underneath the project interview. My last book was 55K, and it came up to 180 pages, which wasn't exactly what I wanted. I do have a thing about shorter fiction, okay? Long fiction is great, but shorter fiction implements conciseness and limitations upon us. I don't want to sit here and write 100,000 word epic when a 65 to 75K would work better. So for the time being, let's set our word goal target to be 65K to 75K. And let me go off on a tangent real quick, okay? Why is shorter fiction good, especially in science fiction? It's because it forces you to make sacrifices in order to make the story better. Does it make sense? A good example I can give you is, let's look at some of the classics, okay? Look at Isaac Asimov's The Caves of Steel. Short, concise, and it was made to order or by a man who knew he had to sell his work, okay? Then another good example would be Fahrenheit 451. That's a science fiction story, believe it or not. Once again, short and concise. Nice. Oh, what's another good example that comes off the back of my mind? The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Once again, short and concise. You want to try to get the book finished in a relatively decent amount of time. And you don't want to pad it out in order to increase your word target, okay? You want the story to reach its ending organically. And because I'm more or less a pantser, or whatever you call it, where I discover the story as I write, I don't want it to go on forever, because if it does, eventually I will be padding. Now, in the future, maybe I will work on a different project where that'll be the case. But, all in all, now, let's talk about how many updates are we going to make to this series, okay? So I promise you, right now, one video minimum a week working on the Silverrunner. That way you can keep up with me. You can tune in. I should get a schedule together for this. I mean, Wednesday is not a bad day. I could probably get it set up where I drop one of these every Wednesday, okay? But that's not a guarantee right now. I'm still trying to figure out this YouTube thing, okay? And yeah, we're going to start with that. One video minimum a week. Well, let me type that here. While working on the Silverrunner, okay? And are you starting to see how the design document begins to grow and blossom? I'm sorry, I keep forgetting the camera. Probably made my hand block out everything. Still. Well, it's late night for me, guys. I work overnight, so this is like midnight, okay? I have turned on every light in my room, and the picture quality on my webcam is still grainy. I actually just found this microphone a second ago where I was making a podcast. I think I already mentioned that, or that might have been already cut. Either way, I'm actually going to do a little bit of editing this time for this video. So, yeah, any loose notes that are pertaining to the project, we want to put inside the project overview. I already said it once, but I'm going to say it again. We are not artists here, okay? An artist is somebody who has the social class and the wealth in order to call themselves an artist. You ain't hanging your book up. I just used ain't. Forgive me, native southernisms. You're not hanging your book up in a gallery, okay? Get over it. It's not going to happen. And it's just pointless to try to do so. So, and I'm also trying to avoid this trap, okay? There's like an intellectual trap that when you start identifying yourself as an artist, that you no longer feel as if the work is... How can I express this? The work is no longer yours. Does it make sense? An artist pulls inspiration from the aether, okay? And we're doing something similar to that here. But we want to be a tradesman, because a tradesman uses tools. Tools that he knows how, so we can carve our story out of wood, and then more or less pour a stain on it. That's what I call doing a revision, is staining it, in order to bring out the natural quality of the work, okay? Now, some of my methods I'm sure you guys are going to disagree with, but still, you might have a disagreement with me making a quibble over artist versus tradesman. Either way, now we're going to go on down here, and we're going to get into the core concept. This is where we begin getting into the hard part. So, what is the core concept for the story? What is the core theme for the story? I actually don't know what the core theme is going to be yet. So, one of the things you have to understand about the design document is as we are going to be writing the Silverrunner, we will be coming back to this document and adding details in. Now, I do know the core concept, okay? The core concept for the Silverrunner is going to be let me change this to 12p. Boop. Turn that off. There we go. A man down on his luck uses a alchemical vial of silver to enter in and out of a liquid metal world. I had a dream about this. It's about running through a world where the ground itself was made of liquid silver. And I would throw a vial of liquid upon the ground, the glass would somehow spill forth, and it would create a different colored metal puddle that I would throw myself into, and I would emerge back into the real world. And there were people chasing me in this dream, and to get away from them, I kept diving in and out of the silver and the metal world. Oh, specifically liquid metal. Everything was hazy. There was like a cityscape in the background, but it was like almost a hologram. And so, holographic city. Ah, there's something there. Okay, I can actually add this to my core theme now. See, this is how we're starting to discover things. So, first, we have a core theme of science competing with nature, okay? The reason for this is that this entire thing I just described is very artificial. And the idea of the holographic city would then feed into the core theme of the holographic mind. Sorry about the typos. You're going to see a couple typos on here, and I will have to fix them as I go. Oh, that is one of the problems with making this series this way, but honestly, dude, nobody else does writing like this on YouTube. Not at all. Everybody's like talking about their book. They're busy ruminating. They're talking about the experience of typing. They're not actually getting down here into the streets with us, okay? Hey, we got to get into the trenches and actually start working on this, okay? So, the holographic mind. This is a concept which basically says that the mind itself is a hologram. A hologram is like a fifth-dimensional figure that then creates the universe. The entirety of all is a fragment of one. Does it make sense? So all is one, and one is all. This basically brings up the entire thought process that the entire universe is a part of our mind, and we are more or less configuring it to be reality by our observations, okay? That's more or less what the holographic mind is about. I highly recommend you look into it. There's lots of good videos about it. Please listen to it. It's fantastic science. Explaining what holograms are when we're talking about physics and talking about the holographic mind is a very advanced concept, okay? So yeah, we have science competing with nature. All right, we're starting to discover themes. As we discover themes, we're going to start putting them in here. We can actually space them out because each theme is something that may or may not end up in the final story, okay? Holographic city in the distance. And it's all right. So this is the basic concept I have for the Silverrunner right now. I don't know why he's down on his luck yet. I don't know why he uses a vial of alchemical silver. I don't know how he got the vial of alchemical silver. And we're going to kind of discover that as we write. Because if you can't tell, we have already created a lot of hooks just with this. I already decided he's going to be down on his luck. Alright, we got drama. Why is he down on his luck? Can he not hold a job? This is kind of the thought process that we're going to use to discover the story. Now, this is... Sorry if you can hear that. My neighbor is apparently using a table saw now. Figures, right? Right as I start to recover. Not recover. Record. Forgive me. Alright, so let's go on down here. Now, plot ideas. Okay, plot ideas. We can start asking questions here. Questions here are going to be like the main character. Or why is he entering this liquid metal world? What was the inciting incident? Well, he's got an alchemical vial, right? So, let's say he encounters a alchemist and steals his metal vials, but soon ends up working for the old man against his will. Okay, we just introduced a new theme now, okay? And this is going to be a generational divide. And will we actually go into this? I do not know. But the point of it is that he needs a way to get these files in the first place, right? So, for the plot ideas, he will encounter an alchemist and steal his metal vials and then ends up working for the old man against his will. Now, why do I have this? It's because it more or less shows a type of character trait you see a lot of times in noir fiction, detective fiction, where you will have the older generation uses wiles. The youth uses action. This is a very simple concept. You can see this in real life everywhere. Or it really does kind of blend into this, okay? And now we already got kind of a conflict. Now, why is the alchemist doing this? Alright, so there's a liquid metal world, right? And if I remember right, I need to update the core concept. Figures in the liquid metal world chase him. Specifically, if I remember from my dream, and here's the thing, if you ever have a dream, I want you to write it down. I want you to tell your wife, tell your friend, tell somebody right after you have a very realistic dream. You want to repeat this because all great fiction comes from dreams. Okay? So brass figures and the liquid metal world chase him. That was a part of my dream. I just remembered. Specifically brass liquid figures. And there's kind of there's another theme right there we can possibly explore. So, why are they liquid? And we can talk about the faces that men must wear in society. Okay, so now we're talking about the masks, the persona that we put on whenever we go out into public. This is now us getting into this high concept fiction I was talking about earlier, okay? Hey, this is why we are kind of brainstorming right now, walking ourselves through how the story's going to go. Alright, now, I don't like to fill out the plot ideas too much, okay? This is good enough right now for us to start, and we may have to go through a couple things, but a focus scene we want to write. Well, I've already kind of outlined it in the core concept. A chase scene where the MC is running through the city, finds himself in a corner and smashes a glass vial against the ground in order to enter the metal. We should stop calling this the metal world. Let's call it the fluid world, okay? The fluid world. See, now we're starting to get some themes. I'm going to scroll down here. I have a section for terminology. Any terms we come up with, we need to write them down here. We will update this constantly as we go, okay? Hey, here's concepts too. So, I know I've just been pouring like all the concepts into the core concept, but as we go into the story, smaller concepts will go into this spot right here, okay? So, terminology. We just came up with a term, didn't we? Let's add it to our archive. And this term, I'm going to actually do this right here. It's going to be fluid world / fluid space. Alright, let me use this. Nope. Yes, good. Sorry about that. How did I misspell fluid? Every time, man. Especially right when I'm on camera. It's like I can't get away with it. Forgive me for rubbing my eyes. I have been up all night. So, what is the fluid world? The fluid world, the fluid space. We will probably rename this in the future. Let's take a note of that. Consider renaming in the future. Alright. And you're going to kind of fill out your terminologies like as follows, okay? And what we're going to call the fluid world, fluid space, is that it is going to be... How can I express this? The fluid world, the fluid space, is going to be the realm of liquid metal that lurks outside of our world and is only accessible by the use of liquid silver, of liquid alchemical silver. Now, why am I saying liquid alchemical silver? Well, that's another term we're going to have to add, isn't it? So, I don't want it to be mercury, even though what I'm basically describing is mercury, okay? Because silver has a supernatural connotation of being pure, of driving away evil. Silver and brass kind of have this theme of the holy and the refined coming into conflict with the industrial. It has a lot of imagery, and imagery really is what the readers are going to pull upon in order to build their story within themselves. Does this make sense? Now, we're going to call this alchemical silver. If I'm misspelling alchemical in all of these, I'm going to add it to the dictionary. This is a newish laptop I got a hold of. Here, let's save, just in case things go wrong. Alright. And alchemical silver is going to be boop, boop, a mercury like liquid made of cold molten silver that acts like a fluid. Okay, now how does it act like a fluid? Well, let's say it's more like paint almost. Has the texture of smooth aluminium or aluminum, it's hard to say, Yeah, I had a nanny who was from one of the UK territories when I was a little boy. Long time ago. And she would always say aluminium. But I grew up here in America where we say aluminum. So you will hear me swap in and out of using various terms, okay? Misspelled accessible. Isn't the modern era great, man? What would we do without spell check? Like, okay. Has the texture and the consistency of a thick paint. There we go. Now we have already started filling out our terminology. These are very crucial ones, so they're going to be at the top. It's kind of like Mistborn, where they have all the different kinds of metals, I guess. I didn't really think about that. It is kind of like Mistborn, isn't it, all that? But there isn't no actual place of metal dimensions, is there? I don't remember. Alright, so we have already come up with the basic rough plot. We will update this as we go through the story, okay? The entire idea behind the concept of using a design document is that we will constantly come back and we will be updating these. So, core theme, or I should say core themes, sorry. Oh, wait a second, I just thought of another core theme. So, science fiction is basically the philosophy of the modern day. That's something I want each of you to understand right away. Science fiction is philosophy. People don't realize that's what they're reading. But this is why people of a more intellectual bent tend to read science fiction, because it's talking about society, it's talking about the world, it's talking about philosophical concepts mixed with scientific reasoning in order for us to explore it in a way that's societally acceptable. It's not like, if you go to church, okay, and you deal with a preacher preaching at you, you're going to accept some of what he says, sure, but you're going to reject some of it. Same way as like if you deal with a salesman, you're always going to have your guard up. But with science fiction, your guard slips. Because we're not talking about real life, we're talking about the world inside the book, and anything goes inside the book, and therefore any idea can be reasoned and interacted with. This is why I love science fiction. Science fiction can be as high science fiction as robots and technology, or it can be as low fiction as what I'm talking about right now. This is very high concept. Certainly, this is a very abstract issue we are dealing with the story, but it is still has a grounding in like some kind of scientific principle, okay? Okay. I have a concept I want to add down here. Just came to my mind. We're gonna add this concept, and it just occurred to me and how cool this would be. By the way, we don't have to use any of this, okay? The design document is purely a reference material for us as we write the story. We will update entries, we will delete entries, we will retype these, and you're going to be with me as I do it, because I'm trying to document my creation process, okay? But we are totally fluid on how we do this, okay? So here's the first concept that we may work into the plot. Let me turn off italics. Sorry, like I said, I made this template really fast. You're going to want to alter this template to kind of suit you. I just suggest that you keep the idea of getting the genre down, the project, the core concept. You want to have the core themes, because themes are what makes a book deeper. Themes are what people are actually here for. This is what they're going to be engaging with, like the actual meat of your story, okay? But the concept I just came up with. So, what if the fluid realm, / world is in between two parallel Earths, and he is not, and when I say he, I mean the MC is not the only one using alchemical silver to dip in between the two of them. Now we've introduced something very interesting. I've had this idea for a while of a story where another universe, America, goes to war with this universe, America. Does it make sense? So two parallel Earths, and both the United States are like trying to interact and combat with each other. That's for a plot idea I have later on down the line that this may very well fall into. This eventually I may tie each of these loose stories I'm creating into like a greater universe. But I'm just kind of letting the threads float right now, and then we'll tie them up as we go. Okay? So this is now a huge new plot point. This is a great concept. This means there will be antagonists who is probably from the other world. There's a good chance that this alchemist is from the other world. Okay? We definitely don't know yet. Okay? So now we're going to create some names and places. Okay? And I'm going to have to update some of this as we write and as I feel. Oh, because I have a philosophy for characters, okay? And the simple philosophy of characters is that we need 6 core characters. Now, you may be confused why I say we need 6 core characters, okay? It is because there are characters who are going to be interacting. There are characters who are going to be bouncing, but namely we need one person to be the main protagonist of the story, okay? I'm a man, so it's normally easier for me to write POV. This, by the way, the writing style we're going to be doing, I'm just going to write that up here underneath this. It's going to be written in first person limited. Why am I writing it first person limited? Many of the old detective novels I love, from Philip Marlowe, that would be Raymond Chandler, to Isaac Asimov, to even parts of Dune were written in first person. When you put yourself in the first person perspective, okay, you will be forced to play as the character. And you're basically role-playing as the character. Now, I'm going to be honest. I have actually not really written much third-person limited. And this is something I will have to try to overcome as like a barrier. As weird as that sounds. Like, most people have it the other way around. Most people they write third person, they read third person. Bravo, good on them. But I kind of write with a first-person limited style with aspects of third person omniscient. This is, for the most part, though, we are going to be in the first person limited POV, but there will be times that I can swap into this other writing style where I can describe the scene and not just as the main character sees it. Does it make sense? Now, like I said, in time, I do want to learn how to write a third-person story. I mean, Harry Potter was a third-person story. There's all kinds of stories that are third-person stories. I just find it hard to write people's thoughts if we're writing third-person. It's very, very unusual to me. And every time I've tried, it feels off. But when I write first person, everything just clicks. And everybody tells me I'm really good at writing first person anyways. So for the Silverrunner, it's going to be a first person limited at POV, okay? We have to establish how are we writing the story. Absolutely necessary. If you are writing your own novel and you're following along with the series, this is what you want to do. Okay? Alright, let's go down here. 6 core characters, okay? We are not going to fill out all this today. Okay, and some of these details we are going to actually delete. But the key here is we want to start figuring out our character. Now, I've already figured out the name for our main character. And even as I create characters, you're going to notice I will typically not give them a last name at first. Because to me, when you're reading a book, a person's last name immediately identifies the archetype of the character. Like, what are they falling into? What is going to influence them? In the first book I wrote a character, the main character's name was Silas Kelly. The reason his name was Silas Kelly was because Kelly is the descendant of Ned Kelly. It is basically talking about a bushranger. Therefore, we are creating an outlaw, military type of character, but kind of a you know, like not the top of the top up and not on the up and up. Does it make sense? Has a little bit of that outlaw charm to it. So, in a lot of ways, that book was very much a space western, I guess, or metaphysical western. It was a crazy book. All right, so Terry Lanius. How old is he going to be? I don't like making my characters young. And I think that Terry Lanius should be in his mid-20s, okay? I feel that would be a good fit, especially if he's stealing from people. He's down on his luck. Why is he down on his luck? Well, he's in the early part of his life, right? He has not yet established himself, so let's make him 24 for now. We may update this, okay? All right, gender. Let's see. His gender is going to be a male, obviously. You can write whatever you like here. Here for people. People can be any gender you like in your story. It is fiction. And we are being inclusive on that front. I don't care. And forgive me, you're going to hear me say things like I don't care because I honestly don't care. Okay? I am focused on my creations, my work. You do whatever you want to do, okay? For his race, so he's a human, and that much is obvious. You do need to specify if a person's human or not because you never know. And let's see, what race am I going to make? Terry could be black. But you know what? I'm going to actually go one step further, and I'm going to show you something, okay? Unspecified. Okay? Unspecified. Why am I writing unspecified? Because if you write race unspecified, you can kind of let the reader place themselves more into the character in a way they couldn't. Now, they're not going to place themselves into our character because Terry Lanius is definitely a man with issues, okay? He has a lot of issues, otherwise he wouldn't be stealing vials of silver from old men. But, still. Okay, profession. Let's add that to here. I'm going to definitely have to update this, okay? Alright, hair color, let's give him... brown, sure. Hairstyle, short. Short, but raggedy. No. Yeah, we'll just say short for the time being. Like I said, we're going to be updating this as we discover our characters, okay? Eye color. What would be a good eye color for Terry? So for Terry's eye color, let's give him like a aquamarine look. Or no. Oh, what would be a very interesting color? Like I don't want us to do hazel. Let's do an orangish brown. Orange brown, okay? Because that kind of feeds into the figures of brass, doesn't it? Forgive me for wiping my eyes. I have literally been up all night. Okay, so yeah, orange brown on brass. Which kind of leads into the, what are these brass figures he's dealing with, right? So we're starting to get a good image of what he is. Faction, this just basically, is he affiliated with somebody? We don't know that yet, so we don't have to fill that in, okay? Now, profession. Then he's going to be unemployed. Why else would he be stealing? He has no job. This may, let's say he has a wife. And we can create her next as another character. This will be another character that he will be bouncing off of, okay? Alright, bio, we don't know Terry Lanius yet. But, like I said, I choose last names and based on a character's nature, okay? So, Lanius is a type of shrike, a meat-eating bird, very violent, and also a bit scruffy looking. So here we are. I think that's the Latin word for it, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I just pulled it up the other day and I was like, yes, this is the name of the character. I'm done. Great. See? Alright, so bio. We don't want to fill this out yet because we don't know his bio. We will be updating all of this as we go. Alright, wife, and we want to kind of give some space for these for his status here, and we're going to do like wife. Is he on good terms with his wife? Is he on bad terms with his wife? Well, I would say the relationship is stressed. Okay? Definitely stressed. And alchemist. As we don't know his name yet, but angry act. Of course he's going to be angry with the alchemist. The alchemist more or less has somehow turned him into a puppet, okay? We may not even call this guy the alchemist by the time we're done. Now, 6 core characters, just because 6 degrees of separation. We need a main character. We don't really need an antagonist, okay? When you write an antagonist, you more or less take away anything that could have been... Like, you are now making the mortal into the mundane. And does it make sense? You're now taking something that could have been a concept that is the villain, and you're just making a human into the villain. Of course, an antagonist does not have to be the villain of the story. This is why we use words like protagonist and antagonist, because antagonizing somebody is just us causing conflict. So, yeah. I'm going to copy Terry Lanius on here. And for her, we are actually going to make her older than him. So she's going to be 27. Sure. Keep them close in age. Or actually, let's make her 29. And the reason for this is going to cause like her having more pressure on him. What's going to be her name? And her last name's Lanius. She's already married to him, so... For this character, let's go with Samantha for the time being, okay? We can change her name as we go. Don't worry. This is all fluid. Get it? Okay, she is definitely female. She is married to him. Well, I mean, she can be whatever she wants, but like I said, I don't really care. Her hair is going to be black. Black with red highlights, okay? I'm already coming up with an image. Highlights. Long with braid. Sorry about that. She's not really going to have a faction, so we are actually going to delete that out of here. We can always add faction back in. Honestly, I don't think we need faction here either, because factions are something that we can add in later on. That is just a part of it. But Samantha Lanius, okay? Her eye color is going to be brown. Why is it going to be brown? Brown, or actually, should I make it? No, yeah. Her eye color will be brownish black, okay? It kind of contrasts with the main character's orange eyes. Her eyes are going to be darker. Fair enough, okay? Let's see. Where is her race? Okay. We are actually going to specify her race as Latino. Okay? Because this is going to add like a new cultural bias to it. It's going to cause issues. Let's add to Terry's bio right now that he is from a northern industrial city. Like Pittsburgh, perhaps. Is it going to be Pittsburgh? Most likely not. I don't like using real locations in my stories unless I know them intimately. So, for example, if I wanted to write a story about Atlanta, I could do that. If I wanted to write a story about Charlotte, I could do that. If I wanted to write a story about Tokyo, I could do that in detail. Oh, there's a lot of places in Japan I could write about. I could even write about Dailin. In China, I could write about Seoul. Oh, I have some crazy experiences in Seoul. Oh, I could write about Taichung in great detail as well. There is a saying to write what you know, okay? And I'll be honest, if I write a northern industrial city, it's going to be a bit of fiction, but I used to live in a factory town. And I know how factory towns are, how everybody has to work through temp agencies, so we can make this into like part of the stress of him being unemployed. At the same time, I have also lived in a lot of industrial places that are not even first world. We don't need to say what country this is taking place in yet. All we know is it's taking place in a modern day place, and apparently biracial couplings are fine, okay? Okay, husband. Terry. Lanius. Alright, we're going to add in a little dash here. We're going to say husband, because that's who it is. She doesn't know the alchemist, or we don't know she knows the alchemist yet, okay? And she is disappointed. Remember what I was talking about? One of the themes is going to be in one of the core themes we came up with is going to be talking about the faces that men must wear in society, personas. This is going to feed into that. Okay? When I say personas, I'm talking about the mask one wears, not Persona the video game. I very well might do a let's play of that later on, but still. Alright, so now we are starting to get an idea of her image. What is her employment? Let's say she actually has a job. And does she have a good job? Does she have a bad job? Is she a waitress? She might be a waitress. Like a woman who ties her hair up into a braid on the back. Very well might be a waitress. So let's just type in waitress / grocery clerk. And we're going to put a big question mark there. In fact, we're going to put 3 question marks. Because we don't know what her job is yet. If she even has a job. We will discover this part in the story. Okay? So we already have this theme of like a marital dispute happening. She's disappointed in Larry and Terry. Why did I say Larry? Yeah, she's disappointed. I put way too much dissing in there. I'm dissing you all. Okay, no. There we go. That's how we spell it. Perfect. I swear, the later it gets to the day, the less I can spell, man. But yeah, we're already introducing like this idea of let's add this to our core themes. The expectations of marriage compared to facing reality. This is a hard one. And we may explore this, we may ditch this theme entirely, but domestic dispute, we have drama. We're starting to make a story here. Okay? So great. We now know this. Like I said, leave the bio empty. You will discover her details as Terry describes her. Because Terry is our... Or here, let's add this tag here. He is our POV for the story. He is our pro tag, okay? So when we see POV in our notes as a core character, we know this is who we are seeing the story as. This should be the very first character you put at the top of your list. You could just copy and paste it, and it would work just fine, okay? So, we're going to copy hers, actually, because it's more simple. Like I said, we're kind of discovering this template as we go. And I'm only going to add one more character for now, okay? Because we already have the main character. We have the person who more or less kicks him into action. So, Samantha Lanius is going to push Terry into action. I can't get my words straight, man. And here, let me have a sip. I've been talking nonstop for a moment. Okay. She's the one who's going to be kicking Terry into action throughout the story. This is going to eventually lead to him stealing. Maybe he has to pay bills. I'm going to add that as a concept. Maybe Terry turns to thievery to pay the bills. And now we kind of have like a more, or like a unethical character with Terry Lanius, but like a righteous character. Does it make sense? He's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to keep this house running, but he is running into problems nonstop, and now he's having to turn to crime in order to make things work. We're starting to get a idea. Okay. Now the final character is going to be the alchemist. And he is going to be male. Oh, we know that because of the demeanor. His hair color is going to be white. And let's do something funny with his hair. Or let's make his hair a little odd. White with a crop. White with like a harsh, with a harsh comb job up to one side. I'm thinking kind of like those punk style Wastelanders, but not to that extreme. And just like an old man, short hair, or maybe same length as mine, but like straight to the side as hard as he can, okay? So like very bitter looking. Now, hairstyle. And he is going to be a white. He is definitely going to be white in the story. He does not have a last name yet, like I said. Names are something that have meaning and point direction. What would a good last name for an alchemist be? Like, honestly. I don't know what his last name should be. But we need to give him a very influential first name, okay? His first name should be... What is a name that automatically calls for an image that people will know? Got it. Turn this on here. His name will be Melchior. Melchior, as in one of the wise men from the Bible. This will bring forth an image. By the way, I like to say I'm not very religious, but I do like pulling upon people's social stratum in order to do it. And I intentionally kind of misspelled this. And you know something? I'm going to leave it misspelled. I'm going to leave it misspelled because I accidentally misspelled it and I wrote chi into there. And that could... And I wrote or. And I wrote Mel. This could be like a word puzzle we can do later. I like to hide these little elements in names, okay? His age is going to be question mark. And we're just going to say old. We do not know how old he is. As he is old, okay? He is definitely an old man. He's frail. He's got like the thing you can see there. Wait a second, I have actual hairstyle there, so. White with gray streaks, okay? Hairstyle is going to be harsh comb job to one side. He does not have a beard, or does he have a mustache? You know something? I think he does. He wears a cavalry style mustache. Now, why do I say that? Why did I write in that detail? Because now we have somebody who has like a hint of military prestige from past, okay? And this adds to the mystery of who is Melchior, what is he doing. Alright. His profession is going to be alchemist. Now, is he actually alchemist? We don't know yet. We're going to discover that as the story goes on. Alright, his eye color. This is going to be the starkest change. And I love indicating things with this, okay? I'd like to point out that earlier we made Terry Lanius' eye color brass, right? But in this one, we are going to make his a pale gray blue, like silver. You start to see the thematics starting to blend in. We are creating images, contrasts that are going to then paint the story as we go, okay? And the only person he's going to have is a relationship for the time being is going to be with Terry Lanius. Not as a husband, okay? But as a mentor slash warden. And like prison warden, okay? He's not going to be disappointed. In fact, he's going to be bemused. Bio. And here's a concept I'm going to put in the bio. Is he from the other or parallel Earth? We're just going to leave that in like a little bit of a indicator saying that this is a question. This is not the full proper story, okay? So now on, when we go to check up on this character, we are going to know that have in the back of our head, he could be from another world. Oh, I mean, he has alchemical silver. So, oh, we need to add in here. Has a stockpile of alchemical silver. How much of the stockpile does he have? We don't know yet. Could it be just he only has a limited amount that could add drama and stress later on in the story? That would be great. Or does he have an unlimited supply? In which case, why does he have this thing that lets you enter into... I need to wrap up soon because I have been working all night and it's 11 o'clock now. But yeah, you're starting to get the idea of how we do this. And I'm going to finish up today. We've made a lot of progress, as you can tell. We've already come up with several core themes. Okay. Lots of neat ideas we're balancing. We got our core concept, our genre, our project overview, the plot ideas, the focus scene, 3 of our 6 characters. We will need to create 3 more characters as we write. So, like a friend of Terry's, maybe somebody he runs into, maybe a cop that Larry is bouncing off. Terry is bouncing off of, okay? We're going to have all kinds of things. And we need to find Melchior a last name as we go through and write the story. Okay? This is how I write. This is how I create and I update as I go. Now we have a couple of concepts. This is basically You can also write notes here. Alright. Now, I'm going to get to the bottom of the design document. You're going to see this section right here, devlogs. Well, what are devlogs precisely? Devlogs are literally a short entry I want you to fill out every single time we finish the story. We finish our personal writing session, okay? So, for example, today is day 1. It is the 12th. So I am going to write that... Nope. Accidentally clicked upward. Sorry about that. Today we made the first video, discovered the antagonist, the protagonist, and his wife, and created this this design document. Tomorrow we will be creating, or not tomorrow, next time we will be starting writing the initial draft of the story. Yeah. All right, and there you go. This is how I keep track of what I'm doing as I'm writing. And now I sometimes will create hyperlinks in order to jump in between data. If you decide to make your design document, okay, in Google, you can set up headers and then link everything into headers so you can automatically jump around. I highly recommend using Google Docs for your design document. Keep it on your phone. Update it as you go throughout your day. I want each of you to start thinking about adopting the concept of using design documents, okay? Why do we do devlogs? Let me get back on subject. The reason we do devlogs is that we are trying to concisely wrap our thoughts into here, okay? We want to, one, talk about what did we do shortly. There's a psychological reason for this. When you say what you have done, you then fortify it as this has already been completed. I cannot dismiss this for the day. But we also want to say next time. Next time is basically pointing at emotion. And you'll find as we start getting into writing the story, we're going to be writing longer and longer devlogs. We're going to save these and keep them. This is partially for your own writer's journey. As a tradesman, you need to be able to identify your mistakes, your mentality, and how do you feel. So, for example, right now, I feel sleepy. Feel sleepy due to the time being 11. It's 11. I work overnights. This is basically 11 p.m. to me, guys. As I have been up since, and it's around 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. if I had to translate time in a way you guys would normally follow. So I can tell that this right here may not all be the most coherent. And this will then tell me, hey, pay attention. Okay? If you are having a bad day, I want you to write it about in the devlogs, but keep it short. These are not your personal journals. These are the development logs. Development logs should be about the story that we're working on. And you will see we are going to do one every single time I work on this project with you guys, okay? But all in all, welcome. Welcome to Writing the Future for the Silverrunners. We have just finished the first part of the design document. Now, I am going to try and clean this up to give you guys the template. I want you to download that template, modify it, and I want you to work on your own book and consider using a loose template like this, okay? Maybe I'll put it up on Google Drive or somewhere, or find a place I could put up a zip or something. But yeah, I'll just throw this online. And you guys can download it. I'll have to convert it to, I mean, I guess I could send it out as an ODT, but I probably should change it from ODT to something else. Either way, hey, next time in the series, we are going to get into the writing. We are going to start exploring and we are going to dig in. And like, we are here for this, guys. This is going to be one of the only times, I think, on the internet you're going to see somebody in person write through an entire novel and explain what they are thinking. By the way, as we are writing, we will be flipping in between our dev design document we have here and the actual document we're dealing with, like the actual chapter we're in. And sometimes I write my entire story in like one solid chunk, and other times I like to break it up into chapters. It just depends on my mood. I find that chapters are easier to edit, and I will be teaching you guys once we finally start wrapping up the story how to edit with AI in order to cut costs, because everything I do here at the Workshopium, I gotta cut costs. I don't have the money to afford a lot of these luxuries. Like, I'm lucky I found this microphone, man, because my god, the audio quality was awful before. This is much better. So that's it for today, guys. I'm gonna sign off here, and I want to tell all of you thank you, and please stay tuned. We're going to be working. If you are not working on a book, start writing a book. Come on, man, do it with us. Just write for an hour once a week. It's going to change your life, okay? You're going to see so much happen for you. You're going to find your mind working. You're going to be thinking about the most insane concepts possible and working through personal issues, working through your mentality, and you're going to be wrestling with these ideas, okay? Yeah, I'm not going to run a poll this time. I'm following up this episode. Just going to say that up front. There is no need for a poll this time. I don't see the point of it. But next time, maybe I will run a poll like, what would you guys like me to include? How would you like me to improve? In fact, if you can, and when you finish this video, go down to the comment section below and write what you thought about this video. Give me your honest impression. How can I improve? Because I'm constantly striving for improvement. If you notice, my face is in like this little shape thing in the corner. That's new. I just discovered how to do that, and now I have an image mask, so I can kind of do this without like having an awkward big background, okay? So just tell me, what do you think about this project, about writing the future Silverrunners, okay? I want to hear it from you directly. And tell me what book you're working on. And reach out to me on X, right here on the comments here on YouTube, and give me things. And if you can toss me a subscribe, I would totally appreciate it. I'm trying to grow this channel to become, I mean, I don't really care about being a professional when it comes to YouTube per se, but I would like to see numbers go up, because numbers go up makes my brain feel good, okay? Alright, guys, I need some sleep. So, everybody, this is Gerald Rogers signing off. I hope you guys have a very wonderful night.